We have some breaking news as the Golden State Warriors have signed three-point sniper Seth Curry to a contract a lot of Warriors fans were waiting for and expecting, but it came at a very interesting time and tells us that more moves are on the way for this Warriors team. Not just because of what we broke down this morning with all of the weird body language and things Warriors fans are catching between Trey Murphy, Steve Kerr, and Jonathan Kuminga, and now the New Orleans Pelicans bench, but what is really happening with the balance of this roster and the timing of this signing. So we're going to break down all of the updates regarding this Seth Curry signing, players returning from injury, including DeAnthony Melton, and the truth about more moves ahead for this Golden State Warriors team. So lots of stuff to really sink our teeth into and break down. But before we dive into that, we have a big goal out here on the channel right now as we want to hit 15,000 subscribers before Christmas this year. Right now, we're at 14,036 subscribers. So that was a big milestone for the channel. But hit that sub button if you're enjoying the daily Warriors content. We're back to ramping things up here on the channel. And comment down below if you are subscribed. I'll respond to every single one of them. But I appreciate every single one of you tuning into the vids. But let's dive into it because we got some breaking news out here from Shams Charania today that finally, a signing that a lot of people were expecting has finally gone down. As essentially news has come out, take a look at that Seth Curry intends to re-sign with the Golden State Warriors on Monday to a deal for the remainder of the season. As sources have told ESPN, Curry, who shot 45.6% from three-point range during last season, joins his older brother Stephen on the Warriors for his 12th season in the NBA. So this is a big contract. Now, it's not going to come as a surprise to a lot of people. Of course, people that were watching the Warriors, following this team this entire year, Seth Curry was on the practice squad for the team in the offseason, and we knew that it was very likely he was going to be coming back. So essentially, Seth Curry joined the Warriors during training camp and was waived before the season started due to the team's financial restraints. The Warriors were hard capped at the second apron, which meant they could only keep 14 players entering the season to create enough breathing space to add Seth Curry in the vacant 15th roster spot. So what was going on? What was happening? Well, we knew this was coming to basically the summer from Mark Stein. Basically, the Warriors waived Steph Curry. He's expected to re-sign the team when they have sufficient financial flexibility to bring him back. Now, a lot of people, when these reports are coming out this summer, were like, okay, once Jonathan Kuminga is traded, once he's moved on then this deal will end up happening. But there were other people with insights that essentially said around November 15th or November 17th, there's a lot of different dates floating around the Seth Curry return that he would be back. Now, as of recording, the date's officially going to be December 1st when he signs, but Seth Curry is signed out there November 30th, December 1st. So there's a little bit of time in between, which makes people look at this a little bit in an interesting way based off more moves coming, which we are about to get into. But I do want to touch on Seth Curry's stats and how it's going to adjust this roster. We'll talk into the more moves in the next couple of minutes. But basically, Seth Curry, over the course of his career, has been, an elite three-point shooter. This is not a surprise. He's Steph Curry's brother. Steph, it's all that. But basically, over the course of his career, he has just been a knockdown three-point specialist. No matter what team he's on, no matter how many minutes per game he's playing, he is just a very high volume and high percentage three-point shooter, no matter what squad he's on. Of course, last season, shot 46% from the three-point line on 3 attempts per game, so definitely not a small sample size by any stretch. But what this means is the Warriors are going to have someone that they can really rely upon out there behind the three-point line. Now, of course, you have Steph, but he's been dealing with some injuries right now. You need some more guys to improve the floor spacing out here on this group for guys like Jimmy Butler that are going to be slashing the paint. Moody, who can attack. Jonathan Kuminga is coming back here in the short term now, right? You need some extra floor spacing, especially when you have guys out there on the roster that should be knockdown three-point shooters, but again, can be fairly annoying out there in terms of their consistency. Like Podziemski, I know his overall stats are very good from the three-point line, 39%, but there are times, stretches where he gets hot and cold, and I know it frustrates a lot of Golden State Warriors fans, but he's been more confident in his jump shot as the season's gone along, and maybe he's gotten a little bit too much flack, but his overall shooting from the field isn't great, but at least knocks down a bunch of his open three-point shots. So that is what it is. You'd like to see the free throw percentage improve as well. So you have that whole, players out there on the wing. The guy that's been most frustrating to Golden State Warriors fans has really been Buddy Hield, who, of course, when he's playing well, he's always playing well, but when things are getting messy, Buddy Hield can be the most aggravating player out there in the NBA to watch. But this season, 7.2 points per game and 17 minutes of action. but he's knocking down his free throws, but only shooting 31% from behind the three-point line and taking a pretty significant volume. So right now, the true shooting is really low in the bottom third of the NBA. In the bottom, third in the NBA, three-point shooting as well. From the field, he's not that effective. Like, he is a three-point hired gun, and right now isn't living up to the actual expectations that you'd be hoping for a Buddy Hield. Now, anyone that's watched him play for the Warriors of recent seasons knows it goes up and down, and when it's not working out, it's really hard to watch, but when it is working out, it is fine. So that's the story here with Buddy Hield. But the thing about Seth Curry, the thing about him as a basketball player is he is steady. He's effective at that one skill, that three-point shot. Of course, is it going to help and solve all the problems out there on the defensive end? Of course not. We still haven't fixed his issues, which is going to point to our next discussion regarding trades and movement and stuff. But Seth Curry's going to come in, have an impact as a three-point shooter, and we'll see how Steve Kerr actually plays him in the rotations, because I know a lot of people right now are frustrated with Steve Kerr and his rotation management and stuff, so we will see how things actually play out on that end. But this move isn't just about Seth Curry, because it's a part of the timeline that we're seeing right now in terms of moves that are coming up, because people were wondering about the dates and stuff for this Jonathan Kuminga signing, and this is really what had the impact on the timing of this move. So Jonathan Kuminga signed, and he now has a trade restriction till January 15th. That's pretty notable to a lot of Golden State Warriors fans, but Golden State retains flexibility to sign a 15th player, but not until the early part of the regular season, which, again, people were speculating the dates. Everything I could gather from legitimate sources like mid-November, late November. The Warriors did it now, so they have that ability to add that 15th player, that 15th man. So they're hard capped by the second apron once Al Horford signs, so there are some restrictions in terms of what's going on. But what tells us now about Seth Curry getting signed is this roster is locked in. They kept committed to their kind of guard-heavy rotation right now, and they're doubling down on it, bringing in Seth Curry here now at this point, because on top of this, you have an update to De'Anthony Melton, as De'Anthony Melton could make his season debut during the upcoming road trip. And the Warriors, again, they need every single win that they could get there, going on the road, going out east a little bit in terms of their next few games. You face against the Oklahoma City Thunder in your next one, and then you really face off against some teams that you really need to win if you're going to make that push out there in the Western Conference. Basically, so it'll be nice getting De'Anthony Melton to face off against the Sixers, the Cavs, the Bulls, and then two very important games against the Phoenix Suns, because, you got to beat the teams out there out east. The West is a better conference right now. And then, you face the Suns, who a couple games right neck and neck out there in the play-in, playoff situation right now. So important games, good news to get De'Anthony Melton back. Essentially, the full official press release from the Warriors is that Warriors guard De'Anthony Melton, who underwent surgery to repair his torn ACL on December 4th, 2024, continues to make good progress with his rehabilitation. He's fully participated in practice in recent days and continues to scrimmage in various settings. He will not play the remainder of the current homestand, but is expected that he could be activated at some point during the team's upcoming 3-game road trip this week. So that's what's happening out there with De'Anthony Melton, and what this screams to me, because we take a look at the Warriors depth chart and like how things are going out there on this group, right? All of the Warriors top guys, all of the players that are out there cooking for Golden State are at the guard position, right? Steph Curry, Podziemski, Moody. Will Richards been very good. He had a little bit of an injury in the Pelicans game, but Buddy Hield, Pat Spencer's given some decent minutes. Gary Payton, who was phenomenal in the most recent action. They have a lot of guys that can actually be rotation players right now. So far this season, Buddy Hield, as we brought up earlier, guys that expect minutes out there at that guard spot. And now you are adding two more guards in De'Anthony Melton and Seth Curry out there into the mix, and you are still very, very guard heavy, and you're only getting more guard heavy with these recent moves. And Jimmy Butler's obviously, Steve Kerr loves the positionless basketball or whatever you want to call it, but it's forced Draymond Green to play center a ton this season. Jimmy Butler feels like to play center. People are joking in our comment section about trading for Trey Murphy, and then he'll end up playing center out there for Golden State, right? It's you need to make a move now. If you are bringing in two more guards into this already guard-heavy roster, moves are going to happen, and they need to happen before this Jonathan Kuminga trade timeline, before this January 15th point, because, again, the Western Conference is extremely tight. You have winnable games coming up, out there in terms of your schedule, but you have to figure out what issues you actually have out there for your team. And the Warriors are 21st in the NBA in rebounding right now, which makes sense because you're playing undersized every single possession. You're in the bottom half of the league in terms of blocks per game, and your field goal efficiency is 45%, which is 23rd in the NBA. You know what that means? It means you're not getting enough shots close enough to the rim. And for a team with Steph Curry to be in the bottom half of the league in terms of three-point shooting percentage, it's because you don't have that well-balanced roster. You don't have these guys out there on this team that makes sense. So you need to make these moves. And of course, JK, Jonathan Kuminga, the Pelicans seem like the team that it's more and more likely every single day. And I love it because I personally am a big believer out there in Trey Murphy. While I'm still high on JK, I'm of the belief ever since, the rumors really started to pick up regarding his trades and the frustrations grew, I've accepted the fact Jonathan Kuminga is going to go to a team and he'll probably be an all-star caliber player. I've succumbed to that. With Steve Kerr here, it's just not going to happen the way this team is going. So you trade him. Trey Murphy is exactly the type of player you want to bring back. I broke this down in a recent video today, but 20 points per game, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, phenomenal on defense, efficient from the field, perfect player that you can bring back out there in a Jonathan Kuminga trade. But you need to make something happen before that point. And it's tough to do it while you're hard capped. It's tough to do it this. But frankly, the depth chart now with Seth Curry and DeAnthony Melton here in the mix, it's just not going to work unless you figure something out here now at this point. So we'll see how things shake out, but still expect the Jonathan Kuminga more moves to be coming there. But realistically, something is going to happen after looking at these dates, after looking at the timing of the Seth Curry move, because after this didn't happen in mid-November, I said, okay, they're probably going to sign Seth Curry once the JK trade happens in mid-January. But that's not the case. They brought in Seth Curry now, which indicates to me we'll see a minor move, a minor trade in the coming weeks. So we'll see what happens, what the Golden State Warriors end up doing. Again, we're hopeful we get these big wins in the coming games. Hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying the daily Golden State Warriors content. And let me know as well, who do you think should have the biggest role out of this group? Is Seth Curry, DeAnthony Melton, Will Richard, or any of the other bench guys? Of course, we know Kerr's going to play Podziemski a ton. Moody's going to be in the rotation. But, is a guy like GP2, after his performance against the Pelicans, should he be getting an elevated role so far this season? I know there's a lot of people in the Cam Spencer hive, right? Like, who should be out there in the mix for this group? So let me know in the comment section down below. And as mentioned at the very beginning, we are on the road to 15,000 subscribers. So if you made 12 minutes into this video, and you're enjoying the content, hit that sub button. It's completely free. And I'll give you a little shout out or a little heart down at the bottom in the comment section down below. Anyways, you guys are the best. I'm signing out. Cheers.